All right, let's get down to our race winner, which was Dennis the Menace. Denny Hamlin getting another win, wins 3 straight races, has won 4 out of the last 5 races, if you include the All-Star race, has 64 wins in the NASCAR Cup Series, now breaking that tie with Kyle Busch. I love to see it. Denny Hamlin gets another victory. I'll give Tyler his flowers now and probably later. He did pick Denny Hamlin this past week at Pocono, even though I wanted to pick him because I knew he was going to win. But it is what it is. We're moved on, even though we're not. We're not moved on, but we are moved on. But Denny Hamlin just gets the job done again. I always like it when a driver wins with the movie sponsorship because you always see some interesting pictures down in Victory Lane. Like they all had the Minion goggles because, of course, getting sponsored by the Minions movie. I forget what the Minions movie that's coming out right now, Minions vs. Monsters or something like that, that's coming out, and they have like a they're working with the Hawaiian sweet rolls right now, and they have like some banana bites or something. I think that's what it is. But I always like that as well. And yeah, Denny just gets the job done. We were talking about it last week how he has so much left in the tank at this point. People are talking about 70 wins. People are talking about getting him to Dale Earnhardt's win status. Maybe even Jeff Gordon wins, not Jeff Gordon win status, but maybe closer to like 75 or 80 win status. I think Gordon's probably out of reach at this point unless he wants to extend his career by another like 5 years or 6 years or something. Then maybe, possibly, he could do it. But Tyler, what are your thoughts on all this? Denny Hamlin, Dennis the Menace, win number 64, and the first time in his career actually that he won 3 in a row. How are we feeling about Hamlin? He's also cut down the points lead to under 20 points at this point with Tyler Reddick.
Well, if you've been watching this show for a while, you'll know when you first started watching this show, I absolutely could not stand the man. Now I'm probably one of his biggest fans. Watching everything he's gone through over the last couple years and continuously just get better at everything he's doing has been mind-blowing and inspirational and just badass, truly badass. The man can drive. He's proved that. He's proved that this car has turned into who can figure out their setups and turn the best car out and explain to the team what they exactly need. And that's what he's doing. And it's super cool to see one of the vets turn into the best quickly.
Yeah, I think it is. It is really cool to see because I've watched Hamlin his whole career. I know you have as well, Tyler. I don't feel the same way. I've been a fan of him his whole career. Him being from Virginia, him racing for Joe Gibbs Racing. I've always been a big fan of Coach Gibbs, being from the Northern Virginia near DC area. I've always been a big fan of Coach Gibbs, especially because of Bobby Labonte, and then later on, of course, Kyle Busch joining the race team, my 2 favorite drivers of all time, both racing for Joe Gibbs Racing, and then me being from Virginia and Hamlin being from Virginia. I've always been a big supporter of Hamlin, but like I said, I've watched him his whole career. I've even watched him in years where he doesn't get any wins, where he struggles, you know. But now he's this is the prime of his career, and he's in his 40s. How is this prime in his 40s? How does that work? How is your prime in your 40s? Like that's what he's doing right now. This is the best version of Denny Hamlin that we've ever seen, and he's talking about retirement. I I'm still, we talked about it last week, but I'm still very mixed about him retiring. I understand you retiring on top and winning a championship and stuff like that, go out on top. I get that. That's cool. That's a really cool moment. I get it. But he has so much left in the tank. It is ridiculous. I don't see him falling off anytime soon. He's all there. He has the passion for it. He's the guy to beat every week. Like he's the favorite every week. And that's over drivers like Christopher Bell, like Kyle Larson, like Tyler Reddick, like Chase Elliott. These are the stars and the best drivers in our sport. And Hamlin's a favorite over these guys every single week. Dennis the Menace is a complete menace in the Cup Series right now. And it's very similar, like once again, very similar to Allgaier. Like these two have such similar careers, it's ridiculous. But very similar to Allgaier. I don't know if anybody could beat him. I think Reddick has the speed, but Reddick doesn't have the speed everywhere. Like I could make an argument that Denny Hamlin could potentially have won every race or finished top 3 every single race this entire season. I can't say that for Reddick. Reddick obviously has his wins and he's had his great season. He's had obviously the better season compared to Denny because he is the points leader at the moment. But I don't see anybody really competing with Denny. I just don't. Uh, unless Hendrick continue to figure stuff out because they have the new Chevy body, I could maybe see one of those Hendrick guys like a Larson, like an Elliott, maybe a Byron, one of these guys competing with Hamlin. I'm not going to completely count out Reddick. Obviously, I'm not going to count out Reddick per se, but I just don't see it. This needs to be Hamlin's year. Like this needs to be Denny Hamlin's year. It just makes sense. And if he retires at the end of the year, if he wins the championship, it is what it is. I'm fine with it. Go out on top, bud. Do whatever you want to do. But like I said, I think he has so much left in the tank still. Just to revisit our conversation from last week, real quick, Tyler. Uh, Hamlin done? Hamlin's ready for retirement, right? He's ready to retire.
I mean, he's saying he is, but if you ask me, this sport was built on literally old men being the best that they can be at the men age. So, like, our sport's very different. Like, yeah, you got to be fit and things like that to do it, but you also have to be extremely knowledgeable about these cars. You have to be extremely knowledgeable about these tracks, the way things like rock, a certain bump in the road, literally can be life changing to these cars. So, to me, it's hard because you have Justin and Denny, and they're showing the exact prime example of this. Of yes, give these guys time because when they're 40 years old, they will be at the best they will be at this sport. Like there's 100% chance that they're going to be their prime. They're going to be at their top of their age, which it sounds crazy because it's a sport, right? You'd think the 21-year-old kid like Connor Zilic up to like what Larson's 35 or some shit like that. I don't know. But would be like the prime of the sport. In reality, that next 5 years, 35 to 40 is where it gets life changing because these guys learn so much more and absorb it in a different way. It's I don't think he should quit, man. He's got at least 5 years left in him. And with the knowledge he has, if I were him, I'd take his ass over to his own car at 2311, drive an open car. You're going to make enough money for it anyway. And just go, man. Rack up your own wins under your own name and just go.
Yeah, he's killing it. I just don't see it. Like I know he's probably gonna do it because that's just the way Denny is. So I feel like he is gonna actually retire either at the end of this year, at the end of next year, depending on how this year and next year goes. I think he's gonna retire no matter what. That's just the perception I get from Denny and the type of person he is. When he says he's gonna do something, that means he's probably gonna do it, and he's probably put a lot of thought into it. So I'd be very surprised if he is racing in the 2028 season and beyond. But like you said, Tyler, I think he has 5 years at least left in him. I don't see any form of fall off in him right now. And I think over the last like 15, maybe 20 years, retiring at around the age of 40 to 60, not 60, 40 to 50 in that frame, I think it's became a normalized thing in the Cup Series to retire at that time over the last 15 to 20 years. I think that's kind of became the new norm. We're kind of following other sports in that. But at the same time, like back in the 20th century, back in the 1990s, 1980s, we saw drivers race into their 60s for Pete's sake. We would see just a couple years ago, we had Morgan Shepherd racing in the O'Reilly series full time. And he was like, what, like 70 years old or so, almost 70 years old when he was racing a couple of years ago, and he was racing every week. Obviously he wasn't competitive, but he was still out there every single week. NASCAR is a very different sport when it comes to other sports. You can race into your old age. Obviously you got to stay physically fit, but it's mainly you need to keep your mind fit. You need to keep your mind sharp. I think that's the biggest deal with NASCAR, and people are different. Like some people, their minds begin to fall off before their body does, and some people, their body begins to fall off before their mind does. And clearly, Hamlin's mind is better than it's ever been. Like it's insane what he's doing in a race car right now. I can't help but just be extremely, extremely impressed But let us know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about Denny Hamlin winning 4 out of the last 5 races if you include the All Star race, winning his third race in a row, first time he's ever done that. 64 career wins in the NASCAR Cup Series, breaking the tie he had with Rowdy, Kyle Busch. And also, of course, let us know your thoughts. Do you think Hamlin should hang it up at the end of this year or 2027, or do you think like me and Tyler, you think he has 5 more years left in him? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.